All right, so first of all, what I wanted to learn and to know about is why you chose to be a peer mentor.
I chose to be a peer mentor because of the great impact the peer mentor in my EDUC class had on me, and just how he was knowledgeable and personable about everything on this campus and how he interacted with the students. And the class impacted me, and I thought, what a wonderful class to have somebody that was knowledgeable, somebody that had gone through the things that I went through on campus and could relate to each and every one of the students no matter where they were. Giovanni could reach them right where they were at the time that they were in a class that was most beneficial for their first year experience.
What was the question again?
Why you chose to become a peer mentor?
For me, it was a little bit different because when I first started school, I really was kind of just to myself, coming to school, leaving school, not really participating in anything. So when I saw that the opportunity was available, I thought it would be a great way to get out of my shell, to kind of meet other people. Then when I realized what being a peer mentor really was, then I really got excited because I wished that I would have had someone to help me and guide me through school when I first started and kind of answer those questions that probably everyone has, but you don't know where to get the answers from. I found out as a peer mentor, we are the ones that are kind of loaded with that information. So for me, just that whole being able to come out of my shell and then being able to help people on the level that I wished I was able to be helped on was really part of my motivation.
Well, honestly, I never really knew what a peer mentor was when I was here because I didn't have one. I started school in the summer, so I guess they didn't have peer mentors for the summer classes. So it wasn't until Giovanni, he was actually the one who encouraged me and told me about it because we were in the same club. And so I guess he saw the way I interacted with the people when I was in the club, and he encouraged me. And when I really found out what a peer mentor was, I really liked the concept of it, of the fact that we're actually there as a guide, helping students who are stuck and they're unsure of what they're supposed to do, how they're supposed to do it, where to go. And I really just like the idea of being there to help them basically figure that out. And I think every student needs that.
My reason for becoming a peer mentor is somewhat like yours. I'm kind of was to myself, but I always found myself in a position to where I help people, especially those who were younger than me, those who needed guidance. So being a peer mentor was my avenue to step up here at school and help people because I didn't have no one. My first semesters here, I had to figure out everything on my own. And being a peer mentor has helped me help people become more enlightened where you don't get frustrated, you don't want to quit. You know what you need to do and where you need to go and how to receive stuff to be successful here at school starting out. So that was my reasoning.
Okay. So thinking back to the beginning of the semester, how receptive were students or are students that you're mentoring? How receptive are they to you?
I think in the beginning it's like a struggle because they're not completely sure what you're there for. And then it isn't until you actually introduce yourself, that introduction where you tell them, well, I'm here for you the entire semester, and basically any questions you have, that's I'm here, we meet one-on-one. And I think once they finally understand that you are a kind of informal way they can get information as opposed to going to the instructor or asking all these various people that you're very approachable. And I think once they figure out how approachable you are, that makes it easier to interact with them. So I think that's my response for that.
Well, I've always found that I don't really start getting to know everybody and having them trust me until I've had a one-on-one meeting with them. I've never had somebody enthusiastically embrace me after just my introduction. I've always had to go to them and kind of further explain what it is that I do. Maybe I need to work on my introduction. But after that point, people start coming to you. They start asking you about different things on campus, different specifications that the professor wants. You know, they start trusting you, and so that it tends to only be a struggle until I meet with them one-on-one.
I think I make the connection at NSO with me and Jose greeting everybody in the way in which we greet. So by the time they come to class, they really already kind of know what my personality is. And my instructor, Shane Huff, is awesome at being so supportive of this program. He kind of puts us out there before we're even ready to go out there. And so he is excellent in kind of mending us together, the student and the peer mentor. So I haven't had to do a whole lot of work with NSO and this and the instructor kind of introducing us and making us kind of connect.
Okay, so it sounds like the connections that you make are important, and it doesn't always happen at the beginning of the semester, but throughout the semester you kind of build trust with the students, and it really helps with them trusting you and communicating with you and opening up and warming up to you, right?
Mm-hmm. I would say I totally agree with that, what you're saying. Like Patrice said, at NSO, at New Student Orientation, it's something about them seeing you and then seeing you again when they're in the classroom that makes them feel very familiar with who you are, and it almost seems like a little friendship, kind of. Right. Yeah, they feel like they bonded with you in sort of a way. So for me, that allows them to be a lot more open when I step into the classroom, because they're like, oh, I remember you. You were at New Student Orientation. And I'm like, yeah, that was me. Now I'm here to help you. They're like, great.
Let's talk about New Student Orientation. What kind of roles do peer mentors have in New Student Orientation?
So we do check-in. We kind of walk around during the actual session and just answer questions, pass out papers. We give tours. This last one we played Jeopardy with them. We'd lead those sessions, and then during the actual educational planning part is where we would kind of guide them along with the advisors to how to register for classes.
So how do you think students benefit from having peer mentors in New Student Orientation?
They get the student perspective, not just the instructor advisor perspective. So we're able to tell them a bit more truthfully how these classes are, how we learn from them, as opposed to the instructor being, yeah, it's a really good class, you're going to learn so and so and so. We give them oh, well, this instructor likes to lecture off a PowerPoint instead of actually teaching you as opposed to reading the PowerPoint. Or this instructor likes to give out lots of quizzes, so make sure that you read before you get to class.
I also think that it makes El Centro seem more lively to see students involved from the beginning, to see not just the instructors or the advisors being engaged, but also students being engaged there doing things for their school.
I want to elaborate on what Anna said too, because we also give them just also the expectations of the students, because we can tell them insight on professors, yes, but we also tell them what we as students have to do in order to succeed in classes. We give them tips, because some of them are coming from lots of a variable of different paths, and so some right straight out of high school, so they're expecting something different. And so we can give them a little insight of how those expectations of them are changing now that they're entering college.
I think that when I interact with them in NSO, it kind of makes the student, let them see you, and let them know that if I can do it, you can do it too. You know, because a lot of them come in here and they find that, well, you work with NSO, how did you get to be here, you know, and so they make them feel that I'm here and I want to be a part of this too. So it's kind of, and also in doing the presentations, you know, if you can do it, I can do it too. It's making them feel that I'm a part of this, although I'm not here yet, but I'm yet working it. As I come into, I can be a part of this. I can be somebody like this.
So it sounds like there's different dynamics that go on in New Student Orientation that happen in the classroom, but there's still a sense of connection that you're getting with students. So how many of those students that you connect with at NSO reach out to you afterwards?
I can honestly say I can't count that many. I'll see somebody and they'll go, "Hey, you remember me from Minnesota?" And I just have to go, "Hey, how you doing?" Because at NSO, I try to put them all at ease. Miss Durham asked me to, kind of mingle with them while they're sitting down and stuff. So I just go sit on the stage and ask them what are they doing. Everybody looks nervous, so I ask them, "What are you nervous for?" It's just a building with books in it, That's how I open it up, and they kind of get receptive to that.
I think that it's amazing how they see us at NSO and then they see us somewhere else, and they feel like that they really do know us. And I always say a peer mentor is your buddy but not your friend, because we're there to help you, but we're not your friend. We're not the shoulder to cry on. Yesterday I was in the Learning Center, and one of the students who has a remarkable story that she just happened to share with me. She saw me and she came and hugged me and said, "I've been looking for you," because we had such a great connection at NSO. And I was like, that's what this is all about. I'm not in any of her classes. I'm not her personal peer mentor, but we have this connection because we hooked up at NSO and kind of bonded because her story was amazing.
Just to kind of piggyback on what Patrice was saying, I think that the diversity that is presented throughout the peer mentors, it just does something for the people that are coming in. Because not only do you see people who are straight out of high school, you all see people who are considered non-traditional students. It just gives you this, oh, there's somebody that looks like me. And that sense of connection kind of eases all of the stress and anxiety that you're feeling thinking about what is it like to come back to school. So I think it's great that the peer mentors are young, middle-aged, 20s, 30s, 40s, and then Miss Aura is always my inspiration. Mm-hmm. Every time I think I can't do it, I be like, I bet you Miss Aura here though. So I better get on up and go.
All right, so some of y'all have been peer mentors for maybe a year, some have been a year longer, maybe 2 years, 2.5 years. What are some of the success stories that you have since you became a peer mentor? What kind of stories can you share as far as students that you've impacted that really kind of stand out to you over the years?
It's one. Every time I see this lady, I just, matter of fact, she wasn't even one of my mentees, but I just happened to help Ms. Gonzalez in one of her classes. And they were in the library. And when she would grab the mouse, she would move it like this, and then she'd take her hand back and just not do nothing. I seen her probably like a month ago, and she was in the Learning Center on the computer doing her tests in A&P, Anatomy and Physiology, and she was like, "I got this class here, and once I take this other one, I'm ready to go in the nursing program." And this lady has grandchildren. Yeah. And that's, every time I see her, I said, I always tell her I'm so proud of you,
Anyone else?
I had one peer mentor student that came in during the orientation, and she was an older lady, and what really impressed me with her, and she's still here, is that she came in on her bicycle. And she came around and asked me, she said, "Can I park it on the outside?" And I said, "Yeah." And she's still coming. And that's amazing, to ride in on your bicycle and you still here.
Well, I had a student last semester that he was a non-traditional student basically, and when he was in the class, the first impression was how many younger students were in the classroom, and so that intimidated him. I remember our first meeting, he was really intimidated by the fact that there were so many younger students, recent graduates, and he thought he was at a disadvantage. And but through, I think that first semester that it really helped him grow, especially that the PSYT class that he had. Because by the end of that semester, because we would have our regular meetings, by the end of that semester, his confidence had grown, and it was really obvious how proud he himself was of himself. And then I recently saw him in this semester, and he was coming out of a class, and he was really confident, and basically, I think he had just finished taking a test, and he was just really confident, saying that he probably got the best grade. And out were coming students that were younger than him, so he clearly just went over that hump that he thought he wasn't at the level of the younger students.
I had a student last semester, and I think everybody met her. I think you had her doing NSO with her sister when she couldn't read, and her sister was doing the computer. She ended up being one of my student. But she couldn't read. She couldn't do anything. I don't know how she made it through the door. But the thing that I gave to her, people were not taking time with her. You know, it's fast paced. You got to pick it up. I took time to show her just how to basically get into eCampus, how to submit. She couldn't read what she was typing in, but she could start typing little, like maybe V or A, and that was the biggest accomplishment to her. She wanted to be a chef. I helped her with her presentation, and you could just see her light up with her accomplishment of being able to see her work up on the board. She's not here. She decided to go to another culinary school because she couldn't make it here, because of academics. But in that little time I had her last semester, I could actually see her starting to blossom, and all she needed was someone to take the time and guide her. So that was good.
All right, great stories, guys. What are some of the challenges you've had since you've been a peer mentor?
This semester, my biggest challenge was with an instructor not giving me the opportunity to make the connection with the students because he didn't use me or utilize me in the classroom. And I'm way behind in getting to really, really know them because of how he ran his class. But it's a great story. It's a great comeback story because the students have gotten a chance to know me amidst a whole bunch of junk, and it's made us grow even closer. Now they know that they can really depend on me even more. We've kind of shared some last minute stuff. So it was a real big struggle because I didn't know any of their deadlines. I didn't have access to see what they were doing, what they were working on. So when they came to me, I couldn't tell them. And so it was a matter of me being very creative, trying to pull some information out of the instructor to give it to them, and still telling them, don't lose hope, don't drop the class. It gets better, and it got really better. They have a great instructor now.
My struggle was the fact that it was this semester because I think it's like I reached a point where I realized that I can't help them with everything. There's limits. I'm not qualified to help in a lot of stuff, and then it's the whole trying to convey to them that you can't help them with. There's some very specific stuff that you can't help them with. And when you get to that point, because my job is to be a peer mentor to try to guide them through it, and I can help them to a certain extent. And if they need further help from beyond that extent, then that's where I have to transfer it to someone else who's more capable than I am. And I think that was the hardest obstacle I went through, and it was this semester. And so that kind of really stuck with me, and I kind of felt like I failed her in a little bit, in a way. But at the same time, I realized that a lot of it is I'm just there as a guide. I'm not there as I will do all this for you because that I'm not qualified to do everything. So that was my struggle.
I think my biggest struggle is when I see a student that I know has the potential to just go at it and get it, and trying to get them to just do it. Sometimes you have to be real creative with it. You have to sometimes get on whatever level they're on. If they're lazy or whatever, talk them out of their laziness or whatever it is you have to do. Other than choking them and cussing them out. But I mean, that's every semester with me because I think I I just hate to see so much potential just lost. When I know some that will settle for C's when I know they got A action in them.
I guess one of the struggles that I had as being a peer mentor is my first instructor I had. It was good. She let me get involved, but the one I have now is a challenge because he don't follow protocol and he don't let you get involved. But I found that sometimes that just be patient. And so on just last week, he came in and he asked me actually to help some of the students. So you just have to be patient. But you're gonna have many struggles trying to help someone.
I feel like my biggest challenge is the fact that they don't really understand the importance of the EDUC 1300 class itself. So a lot of times it's kind of like, what is this? Why am I here? They kind of lose interest really quick after they get there. But for the ones that hang in there, about midway through, they start to see that, oh, this is really helping me. And I'm like, yes, this really helps. For some reason, they just don't equate it to the importance of a math class or a reading class, when really it's just as important. I mean, learning how to become a successful student is huge in accomplishing what you're trying to do as a college student. So once they get that understanding, then the challenge kind of is like, okay, so now I got your attention that this is actually going to change your life. Then I can get the people that are really going to pay attention and try hard.
Okay, good. All right, so I want you to think back to before you went into your first classroom as a peer mentor. So you're a peer mentor, you're still trying to figure out what that means, to where you are now. How different are you as a result of being a peer mentor? What's changed in your life?
For me, I'm more confident. I've found that my confidence is built up. In the beginning, I was really nervous about what am I going to say to them, how are they going to perceive me. But now that I've been doing it for a while, my confidence level is high. So I feel like I know, what they need from me, and I can handle whatever it is that they're throwing at me much better than in the beginning.
Mine's was kind of the same as Danielle. I was really nervous that first class session, and now the instructor kind of already knows, like, okay, she knows what to do, and she'll give me like that first day to give my spiel on what I do, and there's a lot less ums and ands and awkward pauses compared to the first day.
I'm not as, I don't get real nervous or real anxious, but I went into this thinking that I would have all this knowledge and I would get to know all these people, all these kids, and it's amazing how much I've learned from them being in the classroom now. I expect to learn something from each individual student because they're so diverse. I expected that I would be the one encouraging, empowering, inspiring, and they inspire and encourage me, and I look forward to seeing what's going on in their lives and how they handled situations, because now I'm getting back what I've already put out, and that's what I like the most about being in the classroom.
When I look back from when I first started, and I can think about first time I stepped in the door, I was afraid because I was old. Mature. Old lady. And I was among all the young people, and I thought they wouldn't accept me. But once I stepped in the door and started working with them, it was a different story. It seemed like I accumulated so many kids. And I'm so glad, I took that step. I'm so glad I took that challenge. And I wouldn't trade nothing for it right now, because not only have they motivated me, but I feel that all the years that I missed, the young people have brought it back to me. And I'm so glad I'm a peer mentor. I'm so glad that Jose and Curtis one day said, come go with us. You can do it.
I've become more conscious of the students that are around me now. Like, I've realized that there's so many paths that that people walk just to get here, and different backgrounds, and also the fact that like before I already had the experience of speaking to classrooms, but it was never on the personal level. It never got more personal than that, and now I have have an increased confidence, but I'm also more aware of the fact that here at the school I'm a peer mentor, so it kind of dictates how I behave and how I think in class when I'm in class. And if I'm in my own class and I'm struggling with something, I'm like, I'm a peer mentor, I have to be able to fix this. So I'm more conscious of how I act outside of the classroom and how I think when I'm in my own classes, because as a peer mentor I should be able to be a role model for other students. So basically
Good point. So would you say peer mentors are student leaders as well? And has that leadership skill sort of developed over the years?
Yes, most definitely. Just coming in the door, thinking about it, my thing was, what if I didn't want to fail them? Because I was like, you know, these people are depending on you, you know. You took the chance and gave me the job, and then here I am now. I can't let them down. I mean, that fear is still there, but I feed on it in a positive way every semester, because it's going to be there at the first part of the semester. Okay, here we go again. It's 60 more of these people I gotta deal with, you know. But it gets better every day. You know, it has helped me to conversate with different people on different levels.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely student leadership. I found myself that even if the students aren't in my class, I've met other freshman students stuck in almost the same situations I was when I was a freshman, or the same ones my students are experiencing, and I sit with them and I help them through it, even if they're not my student. So it definitely has the student leadership aspect to it, because we are students and we are trying to lead the new freshmen. And I tend to base everything on my own club participation, and it's different in the fact that we aren't in the aside from the classroom, we're not really in a closed room. We meet one-on-one outside of the students, trying to guide them in order to be successful at the end of their second semester of school.
All right, good. And lastly, how is peer mentoring beneficial to the college?
Well, we've recently had a student success initiative event here, where they opened up for Q&A with the student panel and faculty panel, and I was a part of that. And one of the questions that there was a various questions that followed up one after another, but it got to a talking point regarding retention, and also some of the behaviors that the students at our campus have, that are behaviors that don't equip them or don't help them in being successful. And I think peer mentoring addresses some of those issues, whether if they don't know how to focus, you know, and when they're sitting in those EDUC classes or whatever, developmental classes, they're not engaging. A lot of them have never in their life taken notes, you know, and it's an opportunity for us to help them learn how to take notes. A lot of them have never sat down and been a part of a study group. A lot of them don't know how to think critically. And so those different skills, or what they're referring to as behaviors, have been things that we've been able to, as peer mentors, address and be part of the solution. So,
I actually had a student tell me that he wasn't in one of the EDUC classes, but he got word of peer mentors through other students that were in the classes. And he found out that he can get help from a peer mentor, and the peer mentors could help him quickly at his availability, and they could solve his issue for him, you know what I mean, without him having to go through a bunch of different channels. So I was quite amazed when he walked over to me and said, "Hey, I know you." And I was like, okay, you know, because quite a few people know my face or whatever. So I was like, okay. And he was like, and I know Curtis, and I know Patrice, and Cynthia, and Jose. And he just started naming peer mentors. And I was like, okay. And he was like, man, I found out that you guys can do this, and you guys can do that. And I was like, okay, wow, yeah, we can do those things. And he was like, it's the greatest thing ever to know that, because he's a non-traditional student, and he was like, it's the greatest thing ever to know that I can find one of you guys, ask my question, get assistance, and then I can continue on with my day. You know, and I was like, well, yeah, we're always here for you. So just to hear him say that, I was like, man, we kind of getting around the school. I popped my collar a little bit. Hey.
I think the students benefit by having peer mentors is that when they come in, we're there to help them develop to become successful students, you know, and direct them in the right way. And I think this is a great program to have, you know, to get them when they come in the door.
That's right.
You know, and you can grab them and then you can help them, you know, because that's where, when I came in the door, I was thinking I didn't need PSYT. So, I was kind of upset because they put me in that class. I said, what am I doing here? But once I got there, you know, it was what I needed when I needed it. So it's good to have peer mentors and somebody to direct you the right way, looking out for your welfare, that you can be successful, you will be, and you shall be.
I think a lot of, speaking for myself, I was kind of intimidated on some of the instructors that I had, and knowing that I could go to Ibram and ask him that first semester, that was a good thing. So I know that we're real beneficial here for people that are like me, that may be intimidated by a certain instructor or whatever, and we could just go to somebody else and just, you know, bounce something off on them, you know. Because I get now, it still amazes me. I get that now. Hey, Curtis, let me ask you this, you know.
When I first went to college some 20 some odd years ago at Prairie View A&M University, I went to freshman orientation and I was on my own after that. So to come here and see that, and even a lot of schools now, they have kids that are assigned to a group to lead them and teach them about the campus, but not one-on-one in a certain classroom, to kind of help guide them and share with them the college experience, not only from a student perspective, but from a personal perspective. I think that this is the best group that a college campus could have, especially here at a community college where we already have that kind of reputation. So to come in and have somebody that they can kind of relate to on different kinds of levels, and people who have different backgrounds, I think that is part of the success story here at El Centro. I think it's a great program that shouldn't be stopped and probably mimicked to that other place that somebody's going.
I think that peer mentors are beneficial, that not just because we help them in the classroom, but because they'll come to you after they're in that classroom and they'll ask you any type of question, whether it's like, hey, can you help me with this math assignment, even though you're not really that great at math, or they'll come and ask for advice. They'll be like, well, you know, I switched my majors. What do you think about this? Or what do you think what class should I take for this or for that? So they come to you still for that advice that you would give them from the very beginning, from new student orientation.
All right, thank you, everybody. Is there any final comments?
I was just going to suggest, as far as the peer mentoring program, if it could expand, or who knows if they have it through another funding, but if peer mentoring was to continue, that there would be like other opportunities, like not NSO, but kind of like with the student initiative thing, success initiative thing that took place, where like, I don't know if it would be a workshop or something mid through semester, where us as peer mentors were participating in that. Do you understand what I'm kind of describing? Where it would be open for the students to come in and ask questions, or there's a panel, or even just things that us as peer mentors can kind of help them with.
Well, I know I have data that shows that what you do is successful, but these stories that you share are invaluable, and the stories you can take with you as you move on past El Centro are important to not just the story of El Centro and students that you're helping and helping be successful, but also to your own journey as mentors. So it sounds like a lot of you've got leadership skills and really grown as individuals, and I've seen it myself. But for you to be able to articulate that, it's awesome as well. So thank you for I guess 5 years of being in this program. Some of y'all have been here less than that, but it's been 5 years here at El Centro as far as having peer mentors for our new students, for our new student orientation, and hopefully we can keep it in some capacity. And I know you'll be continue being influential in other students' lives as you have been. So thank you, everyone.